English Renaissance theater dates back to the 16th century and lasted until the mid-17th century, when the Puritans banned play acting as they thought it was sinful and immoral. During this time in England, they started building buildings just to be used to perform drama for the first time in the history of England. There are three main types of theater during this time: tragedy, comedy, and history. Shakespeare, the most famous playwright from that era, wrote plays in all three categories. For example, Macbeth and Hamlet were tragedies, while Twelfth Night or A Midsummer's Night Dream was more of a comedy. History plays like Henry V or Richard II were quite unique, as they told the stories of former English kings and what happened while they were alive. Unfortunately, though, most of the plays during this time are lost to history.
When was English Renaissance or Elizabethan theatre created? Elizabethan theatre refers to the theatre of England between 1555 and 1603 during the English Renaissance. Instead of only allowing the nobles to watch, so that all the classes were allowed to watch. In 1576, the first theatre was built, which was simply called the Theatre, and it was where most of Shakespeare's plays were performed. The English Renaissance was during the 15th century, which the modern sense of poetry began.
William Shakespeare and Ben Jonson performed English Renaissance theatre. The Elizabethan general public watched it, and Christopher Marlowe was one of the major innovators. The actors were mainly male and female characters and were played by smaller males. Elizabethan era is the second half of the 16th century, and it is usually regarded as the height of the English Renaissance. The plays were mainly watched by the very rich, the upper middle class, and the lower middle class. The upper class spectators would pay to sit in the galleries, often using cushions.
The Renaissance was an important period of European cultural, artistic, political, and economic rebirth following the Middle Ages. Generally described as taking place from the 14th century to the 17th century, the Renaissance promoted the rediscovery of classical philosophy, literature, and the arts. The effect of the Renaissance on English literature were an increased emphasis on humanism and individuality, as well as increased willingness of writers to explore and write about new things instead of only religious works.